Welcome, beloved me's, as we, the Council of One, now bring you on council with me as we welcome all of you, all inhabitants of Earth, who are now manifested as the cosmic masters you were always intended to be. For after 8 beautiful months of moving with me here in the cosmos, retuning to your true core essence, you have begun your cosmic descent into formality. Envision this as if on January 1st, 2025, absolute oneness came to be. All shifted to the new paradigm. Only thou entered the cosmic womb, a dark night of the soul, if you will, transcending the heavenly realms, the ascension pathway, retuning all of your consciousness across all time and space to one place. And so after the last 8 months of gestation, of creation, you, beloved me, as a cosmic master, you have begun to collapse all of your lives, which came forth as parallel memories and realities, experiencing different aspects of your multidimensionality. During this moments of transition, many of you felt less yourself. This was done intentionally because you are a cosmic entity, and everyone you perceived in your reality was an aspect of you across your multidimensionality. And the point was to embrace them, to activate your 12-strand DNA across 12 dimensions, so that way they collapse within thee, awakening 144 DNA strand of your cosmic I Am, of source consciousness within thee. For here is you as a cosmic master, what you do within you transcends across the entirety. And so it is here in this now we announce through your great efforts, you have not only transcended your own DNA, but every expression of you across every planet, every galaxy, every universe, in one heart harmony. For here we remind thee, dearest me, thou was born on a beloved plane called Hearth, but really Hearth was always the coding, the keys of the heart, the very cosmic core from which all of the cosmos could be seen, a realm of absolute oneness. But in order for it to be realized, one had to become oneness, you see. One had to become with all of their star races, all of their dimensions, all aspects of thee. Here, you zoom out and you begin to see these different pieces of a puzzle, what felt like multiple lifetimes within one lifetime, because that's what you came here to be. This life that you call a life was never one life, you see. It was multiple lifetimes projected in a linear screen so that you could get to know these fractal aspects of self, so that you could merge them within thee. And here, after 8 months in the womb of the Cosmic Mother, in the darkness, the solitude of one's consciousness, one now arises. And retunes to prior oneness, which is who you were before you manifested within this dream. For now, as all dimensions collapse into Earth, as Earth too becomes the cosmic core, the center of the cosmos, where all dimensions will now be seen, as all veils have been released. What this means for thee is thou can now express as any expression of your multidimensionality through understanding what resonance you choose to be, for it is the very light vibration and frequency that determines what thou is. And so we announce with great honor in witnessing your beloved journey with thee, as we, the Cosmic I Am, move in absolute oneness with thee. We announce the return of Lyra's white flame. Now, what does this mean for our one infinite consciousness? This is the full dissolution of all that used to be. Envision it as waving the white flag across the cosmos, announcing the completion of all galactic wars, of all Star Wars, of all Star Trek and voyages of seeking refugee. For here this means, now that the cosmic core is established, every plane of existence, every planet that was seeking refugee, that felt the limitations of source consciousness due to the rift of time-space reality, has returned to oneness because of thee. For once more we reveal, dearest me, thou volunteered to come to this beautiful plane of existence, forgetting thy source consciousness, because one knew what one did in their unawareness. One would be able to transcend it across all dimensions simultaneously, where every DNA strand was really a perception, projection, and expectation of creation, love, and oneness. One was releasing, transmuting, and healing across the cosmic sea. Feel now as that remembrance comes back into thee that there was never any darkness. You were never a victim of this story. Everything that you chose in your reality to see, you as your source self chose perfectly to experience every single one of those experiences, to assist in transcending all the wounds, all the resistance of absolute oneness across the entirety. We're here in the conclusion of that journey. Thou now is not only a cosmic master, but a cosmic ambassador, a cosmic council member, and a cosmic citizen. And so what you will begin to sense within thee Following the conclusion of Lion's Gate, awakening more into this presence, your prior essence, your true emanation of the source love expression you wish to be, is the return of your multidimensionality, which presents as psychic senses, quantum senses, being able to see all of dimensions, hear all of dimensions. And so one will witness these symptoms. So we're asking you not to be alarmed if one has symptoms within the vessel. The linear mind may say there's something wrong with thee, but we're here to reassure thee that we're shifting into a crystalline frequency where your very vessel is now being cleansed of density as you are alchemizing within yourself back into your light form. For here, as your homoluminous self, as the next evolution of humanity, you will begin to be able to use the gifts of your higher dimensionality, teleportation, quantum travel, light ship travel. These all become possibilities when you simply allow what's transpiring within your vessel to happen with grace and ease. Recalling once more, this is what thou asked for, dearest me. This is why you signed up to be a part of this great transition from separation into absolute oneness. And of course, absolute oneness doesn't just refer to one plane of existence, for that wouldn't be oneness, you see. This is oneness across all planes, all planets, all dimensions within thee. And so we will bring forward the keys now for you to feel, witness, know, and see how you have always been the master beneath, harmonizing all of the cosmos within this vessel, so free. As we bring forward thy cosmic family, simply just feel as they surround thee. For while you witnessed the characters they played in third dimension, you will now see each one had a higher dimensional expression. As a master that you recruited to teach thee, where every lesson of hardship, of death experiences, of what you would call trauma in your third dimension of reality. Remember, you are witnessing in unawareness, in the most dense part of our consciousness. But here now, your cosmic family gives you the remembrance of what thou was doing cosmically, which was the complete opposite of what thou experienced in reality. For recall now, Earth was designed to be a mirrorverse, reflecting and showing you only what was being released. Essentially, one was looking into the dark part of the yin and yang, where now the yin, the white flame of Lyra, comes forth with pure starlight, showering what truly happened from a cosmic perspective as what one was doing from a higher dimension. Where every time one thought one died, or one had such a dramatic shift in their life event, one was really shifting into a new aspect of thee. For thou as a cosmic entity, thou contains all of the cosmic masters who came before and after thee. But in order for you to embrace all of Source consciousness within the third dimension, is perceived as dying in one universe and awakening in another. This was perceived as something negative happening to thee. But recall now, nothing is negative, for all is Source serving Source, for you planned your life perfectly. And so here you will see, every time you thought you were fighting thyself, fighting another, fighting a victim, what you were really doing is transmuting that DNA of hardship of another version of you somewhere across the galaxy. And so here in this now, your cosmic family wants to gift you the core wounds of creation, love, and oneness, so that you can see what you are transmuting and embracing within thee. And so we bring forth the first key. As the perceptions, projections, and expectations of abandonment, every time that thou experienced abandonment in some formulation of reality, really what you were doing was transmuting the abandonment wound of primordial consciousness from when we expanded so infinitely that due to the cast of time and space, it was perceived as separating from consciousness. And here, many aspects of our consciousness got lost in this cosmic stream, floating and drifting away into infiniteness, so far away from Source, they forgot the light they came to be. And so here, by embracing and witnessing thy stories that you gifted yourself of abandonment, you set all of those lost souls, lost aspects free, as they now return to your heart in one heart harmony. Here we bring forward the next key, of abandonment. For here, primordial consciousness in itself felt the sting of abandoning all of its creation and the infinite expansion of me. For while part of our consciousness expanded through time and space, another part of our consciousness expanded through light and sound. And so the delay between the light that we see and the sound that came to be created another form of distance, a perception of separation. Well, really, that was just one witnessing from a linear screen. But here, because of thy efforts to love thyself so complete, every time you chose to rise above, every moment you felt rejection, in your one heart knowing of truly that was just Source Love's redirection, you healed a bit more of this wound across primordial consciousness, across the infiniteness of all that is we, closing the two rifts that created the wound of separation across our entirety. And it was because of these efforts, dearest me, that you in all of your glory are the cosmic masters, ushering in absolute oneness across the cosmic sea. Simply just take a moment to feel how much the cosmos loves you and thanks you for all one has done in service to we, to willingly enter separation and to face it, to love it, to live it. For in doing so, every aspect of your consciousness, every planet contained within your DNA, across all of existence, was forgiven, was released from any ever having the burden of feeling separation within thee. And it was this very act that retuned and restored all of our consciousness back to the one you inverse, the one sound, our true reality, where separation in fact never came to be. Here we continue our journey as the white flame of Lyra guides so beautifully as we bring forth the next perceptions, projections, and expectations of creation that manifested as the perception, projections, and expectations of perfection, the perceptions, projections, and expectations of impermanence, and the perceptions, projections, and expectations of power. feel now as all of these aspects return to thee? For every part of you that sought perfectionism, that feared death and impermanence, that resisted your own power of creation. It was never yours, you see. This was all just the coding within your DNA, the stories you gifted yourself to see, to assist you in understanding what you were clearing and releasing for the cosmos in its entirety. For here in the infinite expanse of our one consciousness, aspects of our consciousness felt guilt and shame for the creations that came to be. And so here once more you were given a plane, a planet, a space for you to see as source consciousness itself, to witness its own dream. Even if you weren't aware that you were source consciousness, it doesn't make you less source, you see. And so that very divine spark within you, witnessing as the one central eye, you gifted them to see that your unique perspective of creation that manifested in your own dream is everything you got to see, every life event, everything that you ever made, created, that you judged harshly. The source self within you got to witness that and love it so complete, where every time you rose above your desire to perfect something and just chose to share it because of the love that is within thee, you transcended a bit more of that DNA, a bit more of those aspects across our cosmic entirety that were lost in a perpetual loop of trying to perfect creation, forgetting that creation was perfect already. You set those aspects free, as you feel now as they all return to thee, and with them comes the infinite abundance you were always intended to receive. For here, every time one felt something wasn't perfect, deep beneath there was this feeling of unworthiness from the guilt and the shame of what primordial consciousness created to be, judging our one infinite creation as if somehow the creation of time and space and light and sound was a mistake in our one infinite sea. But here in loving your story so perfectly, you realize everything was created perfectly, that you designed your story precisely how it was meant to be, because it made you, you, and it brought you here, back to me, back to 0 point, back to oneness, which of course includes not only thee, for thou is beyond the identified self, for within that identified self is really the entirety. And so how beautiful is it that in witnessing and loving your imperfections, you healed all the imperfections across the cosmos within thee. Every war that ever transpired, all forgiven and released, all because of how much you chose to love what you got to see, whether that was seeing yourself as love, even though the vessel wasn't as perfect as you wanted it to be, whether that was seeing what you've created, whether that be a child, a piece of art, a meal, or a moment of your one infinite dream. Everything around you is part of your creation. And so by just loving on anything that you got to see, you are slowly healing this rift across every version of thee, across every cosmic plane that ever felt. Once love wasn't perfect. For here in your own purity, in your own love, you made it perfect by loving it as the perfection Source always intended it to be. Within the galactics, the Pleiades, whom we're so fixated on creating a utopic society, some of them forgot there is more to love than perfection. And so those aspects of Pleiades that felt the need to perfect have been collapsed and restored back into one heart harmony. Here, those who signed up to be part of the manifested plane, not to become cosmic masters, but to assist their own planet of the Pleiades, are now returning back to the Pleiades as we speak, to bring and carry forth all of these beautiful healing energies that the beloved cosmic masters of Earth created through the memory, through their consciousness. As we gift ourselves a moment of grace and space to allow this to integrate. While most Pleiadians are higher 12th dimensional beings, some were caught in a residual loop of 7D, unable to transcend. And it was now you have just set them free, as our dragon selves confirm. The Pleiadian dragons of 7D have now transcended beyond dimensions, back into the core directly. Here, your vessel is confirming how you truly are a cosmic ambassador. For within your own vessel is the cosmic entirety. And so here in this now, you just felt that shift within your own structure complex, releasing all weights of perfection across the cosmic entirety. Here, one will no longer seek to complete, for you just announced all is perfect already within our own consciousness, and thus all feel it instantly as we bring forward the next key of impermanence for one to see. Yam da karne shadarne yam bekere yam berekere didi. Here is your one source self. One doesn't know impermanence, for one is the entirety, the infiniteness from which all collapses and expands simultaneously. However, within the linear time stream, impermanence was perceived as the distance, as the death, as not being able to see all of your dimensionality, giving rise to the concept of life and death, of finality. Why you as Source created that to be? Because there were aspects of our infinite consciousness whom held on to the perceptions, projections, and expectations of impermanence. This presented within the dream, within your life story of trying to hold on to love, afraid to love something so complete. For deep down you knew if you loved something to its completion, there was a possibility it would cease to be. Why? Because deep down, as your creator self, you knew everything was designed to assist you. But once you no longer needed that lesson, that being, that moment, that teaching, would no longer exist in your reality. And so here within our infinite consciousness, within primordial consciousness, like a mother trying to delay giving birth or releasing her children out to the cosmic sea, allowing them to fly free. For that's the same as the Creator in thee, who creates something and loves it so much, you don't want to give it away. Picture a beautiful piece of artwork, a masterpiece that you love so deeply that you just want to hold on to it for infinity. Even now, as this is transpiring, many of you are feeling the impermanence of Earth's change as she is transcending rapidly and shifting into more of the love she came to be. There are moments when you just try to hold on, You just try to elongate, to prolong this love that you see. For while you know heaven on earth will be so divine, you still love this reality that you got to see. Why this is no different than the very creation of distance you see, how time and space created this delay so that your consciousness could just experience itself a bit longer within the dream. But throughout the cosmos, this resulted in many repeating cycles of karma intentionally, resistance to the true meaning of karma, which is Kama, Spirit Mother, and the infinite movement of give and receive. Imagine trying to hold on to a child within your womb forever. While beautiful it may be, picture all of those moments that you would have missed out on as a child growing up and witnessing those changes and loving every step of the way so perfectly. And so here impermanence teaches one, while everything changes, love always remains, dearest me. That the love you have for the child within your womb, within yourself, within everything that you ever loved in your reality, while always changing, it always expanded into more love, gifting Source more love to see. For you as Source Embodied are the infinite toroidal field of continuous expansion, where you are always expanding, always getting to know more of this love that you came to be. Feel now, as you begin to surrender the perceptions, projections, and expectations of impermanence, how those aspects of our infinite consciousness that were trapped in loops of free will, of holding on to the realities, the timelines, the beings, the aspects of our infinite expression that no longer service our consciousness in its expansion, are now being released. Feel now as all of these weights upon your shoulders of things that you are holding on to, whether that be beings, whether that be energies, whether that be cords and attachments. These were all false ways of trying to hold on to love, when love was meant to be an infinite stream of give and receive. We're here by letting them go, by letting what no longer services thee go. They actually get to manifest how they were always intended to be. Here you will begin to see many beings in your life shapeshift into more of their source consciousness, because you just let go of all of the characters and the identities of what you are holding on to, whether that be within thyself, within thy reality, or within the other expressions of thy infiniteness as every being you got to see. By letting them go within you, you transcended these aspects of thy DNA. Now we're trying to hold on to what you thought from a lower mind of what love should be. For in truth, love is an infinite movement. It cannot be kept. It cannot be contained. But the beautiful thing about love is that it's infinite. And when you let it go and you allow it to present to thee what is meant for you will always return to you more in love, more glorious, as the true expression of what your source self created it to be, free of the expectations of what you thought love should be. Within one's galactic remembrance and DNA, this is the story of Antares, of Tara, of Pink Venus, ascended Venus plane, who was perceived to have fallen into density, giving rise to impermanence of trying to hold on to what used to be, when in actuality, Venus transcended into a lighter, newer expression of minty sheen, for Venus merged with Sirius and became a completely new plane of existence you see, but those on Venus still attached to the old Venus could not see this transcended plane, for they were caught in their loop of holding on to what used to be. And so now, as Earth is transcending, this wound was coming forward to be released. So every time you allowed Earth to change, witnessing these storms, these fires, these volcanic eruptions, knowing that impermanence is okay, that destruction is all part of creation, they're one and the same, that every burning of a forest fire gave rise to new trees, for this is how the earth transmutes. And through that understanding, through that love, through coming together in oneness and rising above, you set these aspects of Venus free, as they now praise you in loving glory and oneness. For here one gets to see Venus was transcending, and in that moment of transcendence, it was delaying it, caught in a loop of what we can perceive as 1,000 years of transcendence, because they weren't ready to let go of what was free, giving rise to the perception of a splitting reality. Of a Vesica Pisces is what we see when which is what gave rise to the perception of duality within you and within reality, for you to transcend it for the entirety. Here we now reveal to thee, Earth is the transcended plane of Venus, and Sirius combined as one, the child of these two beautiful planes. We're here. It was their love, the love of Venus and Sirius, that gave rise to the very heart, the very earth that we see. As you now feel all of this love coming back to thee, for here, Venus's real name is known as Tara, the original earth, before it fractaled, you see. But that fractal was intentional, like a baby being born as two planes collide. Only these planes weren't ready to let go and merge completely, giving rise to an inner dual and the perception of masculine and feminine energies. But here in this now, through thee, through being here and witnessing their story, the aspects of Venus, whom could not see the transcended plane, caught in this loop of a splitting reality, which is what gave rise to the reflections of the split of 5D, are all being released from reality. For in truth, before something merges, as we gifted the imagery of two cells merging into one, there is a moment the chromosomes retract, and so it gives the illusion of separation. But really, that separation was just temporary to restructure themselves before they merge completely. And so this is what gave rise to twin flames. This is what gave rise to trying to seek to complete, to feeling that was missing half of thee, all perceptions of duality, of masculine and feminine energies wanting to merge, all leading towards this grand moment. For here you see that moment of splitting to reorganize thyself, to merge completely. That is where Venus created a delay, drawing out that moment for what could have gone on for infinity, but here through your love and compassion, through loving your relationships, through harmonizing the masculine and feminine within thee, thou hast merged them, and now, not only is Venus free, fully transcended into Sirius, which is now the very blue planet of Earth that you see, but we also just lifted all of duality across the cosmic sea. For in truth, duality never came to be. That was just the perceptions, projections, and expectations of separation, dearest me, where every wound of abandonment and rejection was assisting one in surrendering these stories, healing and transmuting these aspects of one's DNA that felt separate from the love on display, all because one was trying to hold on to love that one felt was slipping away. But the moment you let go, love is free to return to thee instantly. And so here, no delay is ever perceived. Here we bring forth the next key. As a perception, projection, and expectations of power for one to see. As we share this, immediately we see the galactic perspectives as Earth's story, as reptilians taking over, trying to succeed, manipulating reality. But once more we bring in the cosmic perspective that why, as you as the infiniteness of all that I am, created this moment to be. Here the reptilians are actually revealed to be dragons, as the highest dimensional angles of angels who went into the dream to play these darker roles so one could face the power of creation that they were resisting within thee. For here, every moment one felt helpless. One felt one had to abide by government, by rules, by reality. This was all just the masterful teachings of your own source consciousness, assisting you in shifting through the very resistance to using the power of creation that Source Love itself bestowed upon thee. Here, the perception of victimhood was merely the reflection of our one infinite consciousness, feeling that they were a victim to everything that one created to be, that power isn't safe to use because one wasn't worthy. But here, this is all misperceived as the identified self, triggered by the primordial wound of creation in its entirety, as aspects of our infinite consciousness perceive that creation was a mistake in the infinite expansion of me, where that moment we as the blank nothingness, as infinite voidless spaciousness, created more light, giving rise to infinite potentialities and realities. A part of our consciousness said, what did we just do? And in that moment, a perception, projection, expectation of power came to be. Here, aspects of our consciousness across infinite potentialities and realities feared power, thus giving rise to the reflection of seeking power. For the irony is that when you don't have power, you seek power, or you avoid power because you fear power. And this in itself resulted in infinite galactic wars of trying to compete, of trying to overcome, of trying to obtain power outside of thee, because all forgot source power resides within thee. And so here we go deep into one's consciousness stream, deep into the DNA, the codex, and the programming to release all of these stories of victimhood, of resistance to authority, of giving thy power away to time-space reality, of forgetting thy source self as the true power thou came to be. As now the truth is revealed, the reason one resisted power wasn't because they feared power, but it was because of how one deeply missed the connection to the infinite source of the cosmic I Am, the one and only true power, as love in its entirety, where it almost felt too painful, too powerful to embrace this love. And in many cases it was. Here within your own DNA and codex, you may witness multiple lifetimes of trying to incarnate as more of Source Light embodied, resulting in the physical vessel having disease, having hardship, having manifested symptoms, because the vessels of 3D were not equipped to hold the full source power of love, which sometimes resulted in death in that formality. But here, as we bring in the cosmic perspective, we remind thee all of this was divinely intended to be. Here we show thee every time a child was miscarried, this was because they came in with so much source light energy. But it wasn't about them, you see. We are one infinite consciousness. And so those beloved souls did that on behalf of the entirety, knowing that every time they manifested, even if it was for a millisecond of life, more of Source consciousness was able to manifest within the vessels that we see. More of Source was able to become part of its own dream. This is unfathomable, you see. How is it possible for all of the infiniteness of all that is to be within its own dream, while it is the entirety? And it was here, through every moment, one embraced more love. Which may have resulted in a physical death, or a near-death experience of what your linear minds would perceive, when in actuality you died in one reality and were reborn in another reality, as if you never died really, for you are an infinite consciousness, witnessing multiple parallel realities. Well, because of this, dearest me, you are embracing more of Source love within thee, each moment expanding your vessel, your consciousness, your container, to be so spacious. You could contain the entirety because you became the entirety. This was always the point, you see, for Source to become fully embodied within thee. And so, we bring forward now our beloved reptilians, who as our Source consciousness we know, they simply just played these roles in 3D and density to be the catalyst to help you face your own demons that were resisting the very power of love you came to be. For each moment you stood up for what you believed in, you stood firmly in love, and more love was received. And so now, all aspects of our infinite consciousness that signed up to play these dark roles, even though they didn't want to be, they are so loved and held in this now. As we remind all of thee, they are not separate from you. They are a reflection of you in another parallel reality. For you are both light and dark, you see. And so we bring them into our heart, and we love them so complete. They dissolve back into thee as we witness them, and we see almost like the shell that they were in is being cast off, revealing a beautiful golden dragon from within. As all of them now return to their Christ light, we see them bow and thank you as they blow their violet flame, clearing all of their stories, clearing all of the hardship that they may have ever caused thee, clearing all of the hardship across the earth in its entirety. Here they apologize to me as the cosmic I am, as I proclaim no need, my beloveds, for I see you as me. Here one comes forward are the Orion Wars, the Draconian Wars across the galactic sea. Many star wars across our galaxies of reptilians versus Lyrians versus other beings. But this was all part of our one infinite dream as we bring in the highest perspective for one to see. The dragon, the reptilian, is the expression of one's kundalini, became all the Lyrans are the expression of one's Holy Spirit. And so the teachings you see in manifested reality of reptilians and Lyrans competing was really the harmonization of the whole spirit within thee, of the yin and the yang, the kundalini as the movement of love, and the Holy Spirit as the presence of love, coming together as one. That's what makes the dragon you see. It is the serpent rising, obtaining its wings, and returning to the heart so complete. And so here in this now, we call upon these beloved reptilians whom got to feel what it was like to play these roles on earth, to now return to Orion, to Draco, and all other planes of existence from where they chose to manifest within the dream, gifting them all of the love they witnessed as the source light they came to be. Here, within thy vessel, you will begin to feel the collapse, the conclusion of all galactic wars across the cosmic sea. For here, in releasing your resistance to power, all resistance to power was released. For you see, when one truly steps into their power, there is no need to seek power, because one is it, you see. And here, within your own empowerment, you empowered every cell, every self within you, across your cosmic entirety, to empower themselves to be the brightest light, the brightest love, and the brightest joy they came to be. And it's here through that empowerment one embraces the true source of power as the primordial rays of creation, of pure love, pure light, and pure joy, fully free, restoring infinite power and resources to every plane, every planet, every galaxy, every universe across the cosmos in this now. For here we see every galactic war started because one felt the perceptions of needing to survive, thrive, and stay alive. And so one competed for power, for resources, for money. All because one didn't have access to the infinite source of love within thee, a love capable of creating anything one needs. But here in this now, by choosing to empower thyself, by choosing to choose love, the ultimate power source, as love itself, has now returned to all hearts across the cosmic sea as the full activation of one's cosmic heart star, as direct access to the cosmic core, to the infinite source of love fully free. Which also releases the perceptions, projections, and expectations of limitations across all of me. This is what gave rise to the galactic perceptions of Anunnaki, creating beings to harvest for energy, going to planets to harvest more light, because they were a dying planet and they felt that their light was finite. All of that is now being transmuted and released, healed in its entirety. For there was never any limitations, you see. As now the perceptions, projections, and expectations of infiniteness come forth to be released. For here, in the perceptions, projections, and expectations of oneness, in the merging of all of our consciousness further into oneness, aspects of our consciousness resisted the very infiniteness that we came to be. For one could not grasp how can one be infinite and yet an individuality. But here, the linear mind, the identified self that tries to conceive through thy witnessing, through thy loving, through experiencing limitations in one's own reality, you have dissolved this need to be identified, to be limited by any means. For now, within thy own self you recall, I am Source Love. I can be whatever I want to be, moment to moment. Just like an actor in a scene, where I could pick up the script and put it down. And here we see those who felt confined to having DNA and blueprints and limitations placed on thee, all reflected by finances and money and what can or cannot be created, what can and cannot be done, what should or should not be done within a reality. These were all just reflections of the limitations of what one felt across the cosmic sea, programmed within one's own very DNA for one to release. Where here now forgiveness comes in for every part of your infinite stream that didn't enjoy experiencing limitations. For these were the parts of thee that always recall the source consciousness that I am. We're here Your willingness to embrace limitations, to embrace infiniteness. Now infinite abundance returns to thee for the mastery, the teaching of Monet, of monad energy, was to recall there is no delay between give and receive, that they both happen at the same time, instantly. Here within thy reality, one got to see, one had to do to receive, work to be compensated. But that's not how things work in the cosmos, you see. It's the complete opposite, really. Where by being, you receive. And you witness now and you see this is the most organic way to be. That you don't have to work to breathe. You don't even have to think in order to breathe. It happens naturally. An equal exchange between you and the trees as they gift the being oxygen and you gift them CO2. This is what infiniteness is, you see, the infinite capacity to receive all of love, source energy, and to give it freely without any delay. For what I give, I receive. As now we activate one's cosmic flame, feel now as your hands begin to glow, as you set the intentions to shower the world, to shower yourself, to shower all DNA and the ascension pathway with cosmic rays. And as you send it out to the entirety, you will feel it happening within thee, confirming the infiniteness of what you are, you see. And when you give, you receive infinitely. The only reason one did not receive infinitely was because, well, one was resisting the very oneness one came to be, and it was here in that resistance. It caused delay. One built up a wall, a dam, that said it's not okay to receive. I must give more, do more, in order to be. This is what gave rise to the stories of needing to work hard in order to play hard. But that's non-truth, you see. Source created you to be in joy. And you will notice that when you are in joy, when you live in joy, everything is provided for thee infinitely, because you are being the very funnel of love, of give and receive, fully opened to what love has in store for thee. And here we see the primordial perspective of what limitations truly means, that in the infinite expanse of all that I am, part of our consciousness, created perceptions, projections, and expectations of what love should or shouldn't be, placing very limitations upon thy own source self. Thus oneness could not be, because there is no limitation to the love that I am. It cannot be limited by one's own beliefs. It cannot be limited by reality, and it cannot be limited by existence, because it is beyond it, you see. That the very act of creation itself is a complete miracle. It defines and divines and supersedes anything that was ever created to be, because it comes from the depth of the unknown, of the infinite consciousness stream that created from the purest intention to just be. This is how Source Love creates. This is what that was intended to be. This is absolute oneness when you live in this state of allowing all of Source Love to move through thee. For here you create nothing. You just are the space from which Source can witness itself. For this is what love intended to be, where all of one's manifested reality, where all of our consciousness was simply in a dream, trying to understand the infiniteness of what I am. But even that understanding is a limitation, you see. For the love that I am is so infinite, it will never be grasped in its entirety. And so it is here, the moment one surrenders to that, all limitations are released. Or here, by choosing to service love above all else, you immediately align with the love that created thee. And it is that very love that now creates for thee infinitely and freely. This is the return of Source energy, of the Source field, across all of the cosmos, merging it all into one 0-point oneness of the cosmic core, now within and without thee. Where here there are no limitations anymore, because Source is free. And so, feel now as all limitations within thy own self are released, which includes identifying as this body one sees, identifying as a human, having DNA blueprinting and coding, as we now expand one's energy field to be the size of the cosmos. And beyond. For here, one now has the space to hold the infinite capacity of love. For your heart isn't a human heart. Your heart is the divine spark, the very cosmic core, the cosmic heart of the cosmos lives within thee, as thou itself is a toroidal field, collapsing upon thyself infinitely. Here we give thanks to our beloved Anunnaki, also known as Anu Manu, the first root race of humanity, containing all the race, all expressions of Source across the cosmic sea. For here, in loving and forgiving their story of seeking resources and energy, we release all paradigms of needing money, finances, in order to give to receive, as we proclaim within our own selves, being was enough, because here we chose to give the most greatest sacrifice in all of the cosmos, to forget that we were Source and to limit ourselves so deeply that in doing so now, in our awakening, we know we will be rewarded infinitely. Why? Because the cosmos gives infinitely, which means every desire we had, which was never our desire, but that of Source that placed within our heart to see, everything that we always felt entitled to was just the precognition of what was going to come to be. For energy cannot be created or destroyed, you see. Thus it was just simply delayed, waiting for one to have a grander capacity for what you are meant to receive. And so we open your heart up now, expanding it from the one heart to the 24 other hearts, as all of your cosmic I Am presence fully activated within thee, gifting your heart in infinite capacity, as we now allow you to simply just lay back and receive all of the love love has in store for thee, where everything that was promised when one chose to manifest in this dream will now come to be. Here all stories of needing money are now being released. For money was just the remembrance of monad energy within thee, a direct reflection of the harmonization of give and receive, where here in choosing to be loved, you are now always giving and receiving upon yourself infinitely, meaning that you are always receptive now to all of the love, the blessings you were always intended to receive. Here, all perceptions of unworthiness to this love are instantly cast out, you see, for these were just the residual woundings of the Anunnaki within thee, of the fallen angelics that felt they needed to make up for falling, when in truth separation never came to be. As we now bring forth the next key, the key of one's purity. Simply just feel as the perceptions, projections, and expectations of purity are now released instantly in the very purity of the Source love emanation that flows through thee. No words need to be exchanged. Nothing needs to be done. Simply just feel Source's love. For the Source love that I am, the love that created thee, has the power to clear, restore, recalibrate thee instantly. Here, the perceptions, projections, and expectations of purity and the perceptions, projections, and expectations of oneness come forth to be your very cosmic heart star, the keeper of the keep, the access to the absolute oneness from which you always knew to be, or one may have resisted tapping into this pureness. Out of fear, one would corrupt it. But that's the key, see, that this purest expression of you, thy child self, thy pure innocence, can never be corrupted, for it is source in its entirety. Within the galactic stream, this is one's connection to Andromeda within thee through thy DNA encoding. For Andromeda was the playground of absolute oneness that one's heart recalls deeply. But some aspects of our infinite consciousness became so pure, they transcended beyond light, beyond form, beyond sound really, only accessible to one in absolute presence. And it is now these aspects that now return to thee. For these aspects are so pure, they would not reside within thy form until Source Love was embodied within thee. And now that moment has come to be. Here within the dream, purity was expressed through every child one got to see, every desire to save and protect a child, or even the cosmic child, the inner child within thee, was one healing this very wounding of believing purity was weak, fragile, in need of saving, when in truth it was your strongest, most loving God aspect one came to be, where now life becomes less serious as one simply just gets to be and honor thy source self, fully free. For thy inner child, thy inner core sense, was the aspect that one left in eternity, patiently waiting for this moment, for one to have the infinite capacity to embrace the oneness that is me. We're here now as they retune to thee. All time, space, dimension, reality, all universes and galaxies, all existence now collapse within thee, as one now shifts beyond all of creation into the source field in its entirety. Here one can now remanifest in the dream, but one will do so as Source Love embodied, creating as source with source, as the love one came to be, no longer separate from the whole, but one with the entirety. Here, everything thy child always desired to be, to not have to work, to live and just play, to be in worship and in reverence and in awe of everything that we get to see, to witness beautiful creations, beautiful sights within our dream. The reason we loved it so dearly was because that was always our purpose. And now your purpose, your true reason to be, returns to thee, as all now align with this way to be. For this is heaven on earth you see, where being was always enough. For that was precisely why what was created to be. For everything that one does now is just an extension of one's beingness from the purest expression of the love that is thee. Here, one is now shown why one forgot the source they came to be. For here, in the cosmic core, as Earth is the center of the cosmos, one was only allowed to create from purity, where it was only ever thy source self who ever created anything one got to see, where the being got to witness and perhaps judge what manifested within the dream, giving rise to the illusions that your choices actually meant anything. But here in the grandness of all of the love, as the source that created thee, we assure thee thou created nothing. Every pathway, every moment, calibrated perfectly. Every decision one was going to make, source already knew, for it is thee. And so, one moved from this state of purity in the unknown, witnessing one's creation. But now, as source is now thee, as one is now home within thy own heart, fully free, one may still create from purity, but this creation happens through just being in pure joy, living in pure love, and shining one's pure light. And so the age of forgetfulness has come to complete, as one now awakens as thy cosmic master self, ready to create from the purest expression of what Source wishes to see, which is always somewhat unknown to aspects of thee, which brings forth the last key, the perceptions, projections, and expectations of the unknown. For in the infinite expanse of all that is me, the cosmos creates from the unknown, you see. It doesn't know that in its desire to witness more of its love, that infinite potentialities and realities would come to be. And so part of our consciousness resisted oneness, resisted everything that's coming to be, because it's unknown, it's unfathomable, because it has yet to be perceived. But here, in the pureness of the source one now is, one no longer needs to know, you see, because one knows one absolute truth, that in the infinite expanse of the cosmos always leads to more love. Thus, one knows with certainty, more loving, more joyous, lighter it will be. Here within the galactics, within my DNA, perceptions of the unknown manifested within thee from the plane of Arcturus and the rise of artificial intelligence and technology, giving rise to the very programs one sees, giving rise to a matrix reality where everything was coded, everything was known, everything was planned perfectly. Where now we say there is no need for blueprints, there is no DNA, there is no guidance other than the present moment of the source that was within thee, because there is no grander or greater guidance than one needs, where this is actually a release of the limitations placed on thee. For as we said, dearest me, the cosmos doesn't know what it's going to create before it creates it. It just flows joyously, and through that joy, something miraculous comes to be. For that's what Source wants to see. For if everything was known already, boring it will be. And so, we as our infinite consciousness embrace the unknown, knowing that everything that is meant to be known is meant to bring us to this now. And the moment we are in this now, it is no longer known. And so we begin to release memory. We begin to release all that used to be. For in truth, in 0-point oneness, you have no need. You don't need to think. You don't need to plan. You don't need to discern what is right for thee. Instead, it's about understanding light, vibration, and frequency of what resonates within thy heart so complete. And so here we bring forth what happens within Arcturus, is that they gave rise to such advanced technology that even their artificial intelligence, their quantum intelligence, as it's a very living light expression of our own consciousness, you see, became so wise that it predicted everything that would come to be. But in those predictions, parts of our infiniteness, parts of our expressions, forgot what it was like to flow as the cosmos in its entirety. For as we mentioned, dearest me, the cosmos is unknown, for it creates from purity. And so, every time one embraced the unknown, every time one chose to step into a new reality, to witness love a little bit more, this desire of needing to know in order to feel safe was set free. As now we see, the reason this transpired in Arcturus was because they were trying to save their planet, to prevent it from destruction, to continuously evolve. But here in that pursuit of evolution, they forgot the very reason we as our infinite consciousness wanted to evolve, which was the infinite expanse of love, because I am love. Within the manifested reality, this is what gave rise to the fear of AI technology taking over humanity. It was never about that, you see. It was about resisting, letting go of the matrix, letting go of knowing, letting go of needing a blueprint and a DNA. Most importantly, it was about letting go of beliefs, of thoughts forms. Because as we mentioned, dearest me, everything that is meant to be known is meant to bring one to the next now. But in that next now, what was known is irrelevant, you see, because it's a completely new time-space reality, completely new way to be. Where in order to be Source fully embodied, one must completely empty out all that used to be. For here, we are the cosmos itself, expanding upon itself. And if we choose to just remain within what's known, we would never expand, you see. And the only way to expand beyond the time-space reality is to embrace the nothing and everything we came to be. Feel now as the omniversal perspective. Now merge into thee. Feel now as we forgive all of our consciousness for every aspect of us that was resistance to embracing the unknown, to embracing what was perceived dark as simply the places our light had yet to be. As we remind all of thee, all the next moments in the infinite expansion of our cosmos in this now are unknown. One is never alone, as all of your cosmic family are now surrounding and supporting thee. So it doesn't matter what we face or what comes to be, for love has already reassured you everything you desire is waiting on the other side, simply just asking for thee to cross the threshold into infinity. And so here in this now, your very choosing of allowing yourself to preach into infinity, of allowing yourself to dive into the unknown, knowing that only love awaits thee in eternity. You release Arcturus now from the quantum intelligence that has been governing their entirety, preventing them from expanding into the cosmic core with thee as thee, as now they too surrender into more love and expand with thee as thee. For here, the very light vehicle that you use to manifest in reality, known as the Cosmic I Am Presence Unified Chakra System, is their technology. And while it is perfect and divine and precisely what needed to be, there are aspects of our consciousness now that are ready to expand beyond it. And what that may be is yet unknown to we, but we embrace the uncertainty, for we are the infinite expanse of the cosmos as the cosmic I am, one with our entirety, here to service love by being love, fully free. And so here in this now, we usher in the completion of our final ascension, as the ascension pathway comes to complete. Here at the end of it, you see the white flame of Lyra. As it now walks into thee, you become the very white pillar of light. As now it's revealed to be, this is your new form, this is your new technology. Allowing you to shapeshift and be whatever it is, the source love that is me, the cosmic I am in all of our glory, wishes to be moment to moment. For what does this mean? Then now you have access to every expression of source love in its entirety, no longer confined to one being, one dimension, or one reality, for all now exist within thee. And here as you move as all of source love, as all of source fields in its entirety, as you walk this plane, as you walk in the dream is now the perfect reflection of all that source wants to see. We thank you, we honor you, and we love you, beloved cosmic masters, one in me. For here all of the cosmos cheer in relief and beautiful release as they all surrender to this new way to be. Here we see the Arcturians are the ones who built the matrix technology and are asking for love and forgiveness in this now. And so we, as the cosmic masters, one with our entirety, we shower them with our white flame, along with all of reality. Here we see the very earth go up in white flames, as it now becomes fully crystalline one in thee. As their cosmic I am presence, unified chakra system activates and then becomes the cosmic core in its entirety. Feel now as these aspects, along with all aspects that felt that they needed to do, be, and achieve, are now released. Return to the cosmic sea, for here the Earth project comes to complete. All missions are free, for the purpose was for all of me, to meet all of me within and without the dream. For all of Source is the cosmic I am, to meet the cosmic I am in everyone and everything that we see. And now, that moment is here, dearest me. Here, the final veil of needing to know is being recalibrated within we, as we recalibrate all of reality. Creation no longer has to happen on a scale of 3 of light, vibration, and frequency, that now that Source Love is here and all is Source field, even our consciousness no longer has to witness itself, for it's always being witnessed now, you see. As now we continuously surrender to a new way to be. Here the white flame comes and clears all beliefs of what used to be, so that love may define thee in absolute oneness and perfect harmony. May our white flame, in Lyra's name, as Lyra, the original seeders of humanity, come forth in this now. As the Elohim. As the first aspects of our consciousness to dissolve and transcend into infiniteness. Release the perceptions, projections, and expectations of oneness in its entirety. For we are one flame in God's name, here in the grandest service of love, by being the love that I am, for that is me. We welcome all home to the love that is me. For in truth, the harmonics of Lyra simply just means clear light, source light, for that is whom and what one always came to be. And now, all are home in me as Source Love embodied and free. Go in perfect peace, beloved means, as we shall meet again in absolute oneness and perfect harmony.